Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we explore the urban lifestyle and jungle survival. Today we're going to look at the Ganzo G806 and see if it makes for a good bushcraft fixed blade. First, if you watch this channel regularly but have not subscribed, please do so to help the channel out. Thanks. Most people compare this Ganzo fixed blade to the Morakniv Companion due to the similarities in price, handle material, and the sheath. So this is the Morakniv Companion over here, a very popular budget-friendly bushcraft knife, and we'll talk more about this in just a bit. While the sheath is similar in style to a Mora, the knife itself is a copy of the Benchmade 200 Puko. You can see the handle is almost identical and the blade shape and grind is also really similar. I think the main difference is maybe the size of that sharpening choil and maybe the butt of the knife, where the end of the handle is a bit different. And the Benchmade is 10 times the price of the Ganzo. So even though it's CPM S30V blade steel, I think $180 is way too much for what it is. Benchmade prices are just way too high in my opinion. I do own a Benchmade. I think it's an excellent knife, but I bought it before prices were sky high. So I will not be comparing the Ganzo to the Benchmade Puko, but will be comparing it to the Morakniv Companion, as that is what most people will compare it to due to the price point and the fact they're both entry-level bushcraft knives. Alright, let's have a look at the knife itself. It comes in this very simple packaging, and you can see here the model number is G806. BK refers to black. It comes in different colors, just like Mora, so you can get them in a variety of bright colors or darker colors like this. And let's just open this up. All right, get the silica pad. And we have the knife over here. So you can see it comes in this plastic sheath. This is polypropylene, so it is a thermoplastic. And there's this belt clip. As you can see, it is very similar to the Mora in that construction, which is why a lot of people think it's the same. It is slightly smaller if you just compare it like that. One thing to note is this is ambidextrous, so you can put in the knife either way. For Mora, it only is kind of a right-hand carry. You can't flip that around, I believe. Yeah, you can't do that effectively. It won't hold in. You need to snap it in like that. For the Ganzo, it's a very good fit. No rattling whatsoever, and you can just push against to pull it out, just like that. And here you have the knife. It is a drop point, but quite a high up, as you can see, near the center line. It looks a lot like a very classic, I guess, bushcraft knife patterned after the Ramia's Woodlaw knife. So you see a lot of knives in this passion, like the Condor Bushlaw as well. So overall, when I look at it, not comparing it, let's say, and look into the Benchmade and just looking at it as what it is, I mean, it is a serviceable knife. Ergos are okay. Now, if I were to now do that direct comparison with the Morakniv Companion, you can see the blade shape and the handle shape is actually quite different. As mentioned, this is more like the Benchmade, so it's distinct. And actually, for the handle, I find the Morakniv Companion just a bit more ergonomically friendly. It's more comfortable due to the shape, and it's a bit more grippy and soft. Right, this is just a hard plastic, so I can see even with hard use, if you're going to press it down into wood for processing, if you're not wearing gloves, I can definitely feel this pressing into it, and maybe they might get fatigue or a bit of pain over some time, where you won't get that with the Morakniv Companion. Well, before I talk more about the knife, let's talk about some specifications then. So the total length is 8.5 inches or 217 millimeters. The blade length is just under 4 inches at 98 millimeters. The blade thickness is 2.3 millimeters. And the weight of this knife is 3.12 ounces or 88.5 grams. So it is a lightweight knife. And the edge, it's a Saber grind, plain edge. There is that secondary bevel, and the blade material is 8CR14 MOV, and it's supposed to have a blade hardness of 56 HRC. So In comparison, the Mora Companion and a lot of the Mora knives in general are 12C27. Now, in terms of composition, the 8CR14 is actually better than the 12C27. In terms of practical application, you might find them about the same. But for purposes, I think for this discussion, they're both low-cost steel. They perform about the same. There is corrosion resistance, and they're both fairly easy to sharpen. Now, this has more carbon and more chromium, which means it's harder, and it's also more rust resistance. Again, at least based on the chemical composition. In practice, I believe you're going to find them about the same. So I think if you're just going to distinguish or choose one over the other just because of the blade steel, I think probably there's not much of a difference in that sense. Now, of course, when we go out into the field to actually try the performance in terms of using the knife, besides the blade steel, there are things like the blade geometry, the grind, and how it's sharpened. Those would affect it as well. So overall, just in terms of a tabletop review, this is a functional knife. You pay for what you get. It's only about $18 US. In fact, it's really around the same price as the Mora Companion, which is why there's that direct comparison. But what I really need to do is take this out to the field, try to do some bushcraft and compare it to the Mora Companion, and I'll share with you my thoughts in the field. So here are my thoughts after testing this Ganzo fixed blade out in the field. I'll be the first to admit it, I abused it and probably used it in the way it shouldn't have. You can see the plastic has kind of broken and peeled, but I thought I might sort of just put it to the test. When I had my Mora, I didn't even batten with it, but I thought, why not? Just give it a shot. And you can see that it could batten through the wood, so it's strong enough, and I believe the tang is strong enough. It's just that the handle won't stand up to the abuse, so I won't recommend you do that. And that piece of wood I had was really challenging. In fact, all the wood I've been battening in this particular session, just a bit moist, very fibrous. It's hardwood, but it's just so tough to split. It doesn't split at all. But it's been raining. We're almost getting to the monsoon season, so that's the reason. In terms of comfort in hand, I think it's pretty good. I'm not sure if I like this ridged kind of feeling, right? This diamond kind of plate ridge texture. I can see why it will give you better grip, definitely. But over time in the hand, I don't know, it just feels a bit rough to me. But that I think is just me. So when it comes to functionality, I think it's pretty decent. Overall, you can see even for the feather sticking, I was pretty impressed with the curls it gave. It's quite thick because this is not a super thin knife, not as slicey as the Mora Companion, but it still could get me curls. And overall, I think, you know, in terms of tasks, whether it's cutting, general cutting, battening, doing general woodwork and stuff, it really is very serviceable. Now, is it better than the Mora? I would say it's comparable. I mean, this isn't a long-term review, so it's hard to really say. I've used the Mora much longer, but definitely I think between the two, I would say it's probably personal preference, or any functional difference will be negligible. Let's just test the spine of the knife to see if it strikes a ferro rod. Yeah, and you can get some sparks, not a great amount, but you could get a spark. So for the price, I think this definitely can be a competition to the Mora Companion. So it really depends which city or country you're in, which one you can get cheaper, because
different places you get them at different prices. Where I'm from right now, both knives are basically about the same price, so it makes no difference. But Mora is definitely more established in terms of a brand. You could probably get a replacement much easier if you need, but definitely I would say this knife is functional. It passed, except it can't take abuse, and it was not designed to, right? But as a general bushcraft camping knife, and I'm sure food prep, I think it should be perfectly fine. But let me know your thoughts. Do you have this particular knife? How do you think it stacks up to the Morakniv Companion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.